Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
Yeah, you just you were all over it, man. On the Blue Sky, you said they're really trying to make this country into Russia, a backwards oligarchy with nukes and a madman with empire ambitions in charge that doesn't give a about the lives and deaths of its citizens. I mean, that's the thing, Rube. We were saying. I think it's starting to show up in some polling, which I think is good news. I mean, we got to remember we're only 2 weeks in. You know,
Right.
and I was mentioning the latest depressing Washington Post. Let's talk to 20 Trump voters in a diner who like what Trump is doing story. But it
Oh,
is
oh, missed that one.
it's
Or,
starting to.
or, or now have a block up to those kinds of things.
But I mean, the initial polling is showing exactly what we think that nobody voted for this. That only I don't even know what it is, 20 something percent, or want Elon Musk to have this kind of power, or for pardoning violent insurrectionists and on, right?
I just want to know why people aren't complaining yet about why we don't actually have a president, considering that he's spent I don't know how many days at one of his own places, and as out of the first 20 days or so, he'd spent five of them golfing.
Yeah.
It's like he's just admitting, yeah, you know what, I'm not president. I'll take care of the Kennedy Center. That'll be my job. Kennedy Center and just bitching about everything.
Yeah.
Go. I'm a president.
Yeah, I mean, but you said it best. You said, I'm no fancy constitutional scholar, but did Elon Musk or any of his coder boys take an oath to uphold the Constitution? And if they haven't, doesn't that mean they're impersonating government officials? Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
this would be considered a cybercrime, and the fact that they seem to be signaling they're not going to pay attention to court orders means we're at our next phase, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah. Which means that if and even if the Supreme Court were to actually, I mean, I think what the Supreme Court will do when it gets to the Supreme Court is say, well, you got to impeach and remove him. Otherwise, we already said it's all cool unless you impeach and remove him.
Yeah.
But even if the Supreme Court were to find some kind of backbone and say no, you have to follow a court order. Again, there's no mechanism to make him do that with a Republican Congress that is bowing down to him and saying, please, our face is more.
Yeah. You made so many great points this weekend. You just said, I've said it before, but I think about it sometimes. It's a sad statement of the United States that the two people who understood this country the most in the 21st century have been Osama bin Laden and Vladimir Putin. I mean, everybody's quoting the Khrushchev thing about we'll take America without firing a shot. I
Yeah.
happened to watch a little of the Reality Winner movie, and I think it's on Hulu or something. And I thought, oh my God, that goes back to the original sin, Rude. She just told the truth that even
Yeah.
the Senate Republican Intelligence Committee said, obviously Putin interfered to get Trump elected. Everything he does makes sense when you go back to the original crime. That of course he colluded. Of course they interfered.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. And of course they're doing everything they can to cover that up, including stopping what if Pam Bondi. One of the first things she did was end the investigation into the Russian oligarchs and also cybercrime. I mean,
Right.
it's
Or
just,
election interference by four.
yeah, yeah.
It's like they're admitting, like, yes, Russia has helped Trump and Republicans, so we're not going to stop any foreign interference in our election, right?
Yeah, yeah, and not with the conclusion of an investigation that showed whether or not something happened. It's just saying we don't want to know. We don't want to know. We want
Yeah.
we want the ignorance to be out there instead.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, we're about to put a Russian asset in charge of our intelligence. So we need to pretend, none of this happened. Yeah. And you said Project 2025's tight ass nuts classify anything that mentions LGBT people having sex or even in love, any nudity, including cartoon butts, and lots of other stuff as porn. That's now officially porn, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, according to Project 2025, and so what Project 2025 says is that librarians and teachers who have their students read those things or have those books even around should be classified as sex offenders. And it's just like really, you know what, the butt in the not Shel Silverstein, in the what book is it? The In the Night Kitchen
Ah,
by Maurice Sendak. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. There's a bare butt in that one.
Oh,
And it's
no.
like, oh my God, the children might realize there's asses.
Yeah.
There's a butt or two in Shel Silverstein's stuff.
Who was? Oh, what was the pearl clutching over this Super Bowl? Carl's Jr. something? I don't know. Parents for Concerned something. Carl's Jr.
Oh yeah,
Some-
yeah.
Okay.
There was some sexiness. In a
yes,
Carl's Jr. ad.
yes. Can't have that.
Oh, I'm surprised they didn't complain about the breast cancer ad that happened to focus on breast.
Yes. Just that was exactly the same as the Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction. It was because it's about pity. Okay.
Yeah. They actually showed a woman breastfeeding. Like, oh my God.
No. Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. You said, man, I wish there was an actual deep state. A real one would have, let's say, eliminated a lot of the problems we're facing. Yes, if only we had a deep state, right?
Yeah, I keep waiting for the CIA to do all the evil stuff we hear the CIA can do, but maybe they just like it.
You said for instance, is the outcry over using tax dollars to pay tens of thousands of workers to sit home and do nothing for the next 6 to 8 months? I mean, none of their stuff about waste makes any sense. When Trump says like, "Oh, we're finding massive corruption and whatever," like, right, it's you. You're finding lots of corruption from Elon Musk, right? When we're finding tons of blah blah. I mean, it's always a projection, right?
And they just told all the employees of maybe the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau to just stay home this week and don't do any work. Mm-hmm. So we're paying them for. I mean, obviously, what this is a prelude to getting rid of them. But even so, we're saying, you know what? Just don't do any work, and you know,
it's not about. I mean, we paid them $7 million. Musk and the incels for 1 week. For 1 week, that's the Department of Government Efficiency. I mean, it is to laugh, all of it. I mean, and the fact that we're not cutting any billions of dollars of subsidies to Elon Musk. He's in there to help himself. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, and he's keeping them locked in there, feeding them, I don't know, Doritos and jerky, and forcing them to sleep there to keep coding until their fingers fall off and not pay them. I mean,
You're in your latest piece, Democrats need to stop being afraid of being Democrats. That's why I'd wanted the Chris Murphy right before you.
Yeah.
Do we have
I
that?
have it now,
Two?
yeah.
Okay, here we go. Senator
The
Murphy.
wholesale endorsement of political violence with the pardons given to every single January 6 rioter, including the most violent who beat police officers over the head with baseball bats. And you can see what he's trying to do here. He is trying to crush his opposition by making them afraid of losing federal funding, by making them afraid of physical violence. And so, yes, this is a red alert moment when this entire country has to understand that our democracy is at risk.
Yeah, I mean, he's using that. AOC is saying 5-alarm fire. They're saying, he's saying constitutional crisis. That's how you have to talk. I mean, your whole piece was.
And just real quick, one of the things that he was responding to there was he was asked about John Fetterman saying everybody should calm down. And Murphy was saying, no, this is actually not the time to calm down.
And thank you, because you and I, all of us, defended John Fetterman so hard. They were so cruel to him when he had his stroke. And you said it, Senator, this year's Cinema Fetterman called the Democratic Party toxic. And saying his primary currency was shaming. Their primary currency is shaming and scolding and talking down to people and telling them, "Hey, I know better than you," or "You're dopes," or "You're a bro," or "You're ignorant," or "How can you be this dumb? I can't imagine it." And you said, considering Trump and Musk and all those bros and dopes and ignoramuses and dummies on the right insult everyone, not them, Fetterman's accusation is self-serving and wrong. And it's a shame to watch this once badass warrior for the working class become a simp making nice with Republicans. I mean, who talks down to or name calls more than Donald Trump, right?
Right. And the name calling, what he's referring to is obviously things like, oh, we're making you actually think of pronouns. That's what they mean by that kind of stuff. Oh, we're making you actually have to think about diversity. And, and it's insulting if you tell us we're wrong if we're racist.
Well, and here's the thing. I do struggle with this. I say it to Chris because I get it, that this whole not talking down to people. But what do you do? Well, all these F around and find out people that you're like, He said all this. Like, I don't know what else to, if the word isn't stupid, that is it, what is it? Lack of critical thinking skills? How could you be surprised? Arab voters in Michigan, Latino voters, you know what I mean? That the guy that all Mexicans are rapists and Muslim ban guy turned out to be exactly the racist he showed you to be his entire life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and to me, it's not talking down to them. It is, and I say this over and over and over again. They are friggin' adults, and I'm going to talk to them like friggin' adults.
Well,
and that means that if they piss me off, I'm going to say you are being an idiot because you know what? If that insults you, well, maybe you need to think about why you're an idiot.
And you're a professor. When he's talking about blowing up the Department of Education, he's like, well, we're the lowest in the world. Good job, Joe. First of all, he's going to blame Joe Biden for everything. And then he's like, I want to send it back to the states. It's like, states already set the curriculum, and all of the lowest states in education are red states. So you tell me what, Massachusetts, blue state forever, is number one in education. What's last? Yeah. Mississippi, all the top 20 or bottom 20 are red states, right? Yeah.
New Jersey is it competes with Massachusetts for 1 and 2. I mean, they're the ones that actually care about educating people about the reality and not the fantasies or the child fable book of the Bible. Yeah. This thing that gets me about this kind of stuff is that we're supposed to be one nation. And you know what? Those stupid people that are educated in the worst ways, they get to vote as they should. But they also affect all of us who live in reality.
Yeah. This was the thread I was looking at. Kansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. What do all these states have in common other than being red states? Last in healthcare, last in education, a severe tuberculosis outbreak, the largest in American history, by the way. I mean, anyway.
Measles outbreak in Texas, there's that too.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, you said in your piece, every good thing in people's lives right now from the federal government came from Democrats, and that's what they should be selling. And you're right. Yeah. I mean, all of it, right? Workers' rights, Medicare, Medicaid. You said Democrats' energy is surging finally, as you were saying. But you said it's time to go further. It has to be framed that Democrats want to keep the lights on in hospitals and punish financial institutions that harm everyday people and prosecute corporate criminals and not tear down the FBI and the CIA and the military and keep people from starving. It's not that Republicans are the holes here. It's that Democrats are the ones who can make it right. I think you're right. Stop letting this be afraid to say we're Democrats, right?
Yeah. This whole thing of the Democratic brand is toxic. Well, that's because you're not running on the Democratic brand, One of the other things in the piece, and it actually kind of shocked me when I went back and looked at Kamala Harris's speeches and other speeches, that Democrats don't mention that Democrats did these things.
Yeah.
It's like
the American people are
out front.
Right. They're on our side in just about every issue. We just have to figure out, you're right, like run with that, not against it. Love you. Goodbye.
Oh, hey there, it's Stephanie Miller. If you're like me and you love sharp political insight, pointy, you like it pointy and sharp, bold opinions, and a touch of humor to make sense of these crazy times, have I got some fantastic news for you. The Political Voices Network is now on Substack. This is your new go-to for the best in independent media. We're talking about my show streaming daily with episodes on demand, the fearless of journalism of Brian Karem, the brilliant side-splitting satire of John Fugelsang, the unrelenting working class advocacy of Rick Smith, and so much more. Here's the best part. Subscribing is so easy. You can join for free or go to the extra mile. Support these incredible independent voices by signing up for a full subscription starting at just $8. You'll get access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and a chance to directly fuel fearless, unfiltered media. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to politicalvoicesnetwork.com, hit that subscribe button, and become part of the movement keeping truth alive in an era of corporate media overload. Every subscription helps, especially yours. One more time, that is politicalvoicesnetwork.com. Sign up now. Do it.